designation. And I'm just going to correct Paul in a few areas there. I love that delivery, Paul. That was an excellent raw delivery. But I'm going to tamper it down a little bit. And so I thought, what should I talk to you about, right? And I thought, well, maybe I could tell you about Supply Chain Canada. I can sort of do the things that Paul said. But I can also talk to you about what are the 3 things that really helped me in my career, right? And so maybe I'll do that if you guys are okay with it. 3 things that helped me in my career. And so right now I am the CEO and president of Supply Chain Canada. Just to let you know, before that I had my own consulting firm. So partner firm, and I worked on supply chain transformation, worked across pharmaceuticals, worked with construction companies, worked with, oh my goodness, pet pharmaceutical companies, like you name it. And we went in with clients to transform their supply chain organizations. Prior to that, I led up category management at an oil and gas company where I was accountable for $6.5 billion of spend on an annual basis, had a whole department, right? So this, like, I can go step up here and sort of like, oh, hey, I did all these great things and it's fantastic. But what does it mean, right? It's given me happiness in life. It's given me a sense of achievement. It's given me the financial means for me to raise my family, and my kids are loving it right now because they get to enjoy the fruits of all this efforts, right? And it's provided me that space, right? And all that value to the family. And so if I go back and I say, okay, well, what are the 3 key things that really helped me along the way? 3 guidance, right? 1, as you embark in your career, you guys are all here to learn, and you're going to embark in various career opportunities. The one thing first is that be open to anything, right? Whatever opportunity comes your way, right? You never know where it leads. And I wish I had the foresight, as Paul sort of said, that I was going to be in supply chain. I didn't know I was going to be in supply chain, actually. I didn't actually start in supply chain management. I didn't know what I was doing. But I led myself by one key thing. I don't know. And if I don't know something, right, I'm gonna jump into it, right? If it causes me discomfort, right, I'm gonna lean into it and jump into it. My first job coming out of school was actually to work in Indigenous economic development in the NorQuest territories, right? I had no clue. I found that Calgary was cold enough as it is, and now they want me to, I'm going to think of moving all the way up into Yellowknife, northern Canada, where it's like minus 26 on a regular basis, in the winter, right? It was a pretty daunting task, but that was scary. So I jumped into it, and I learned so much from that, right? And from that, I came back and then went into like the airline sector, right? Didn't know anything about the airline sector. Throughout my career, things were given to me and presented to me. I had an opportunity, and they said to me, hey, Allan, you're doing fantastic work. Here, can you take over all of our construction and engineering work contracts for supply chain, right? And this is where, when I looked at it, the expectation is that for me in that role, I would lead a department in which we were accountable for $3.5 billion worth of spend. I had to negotiate deals that were in hundreds of millions of dollars. I had no clue, had no background in construction or engineering whatsoever, right? So easiest thing to do is say, no, that's not for me, I'm not good enough, right? No, lean in. As soon as the opportunity comes, you jump on it no matter what, right? And that has been my life, right? Whatever opportunity comes, as long as it provides you with a development opportunity to learn and to grow, embrace it, right? First. Second thing, to what Paul alluded to, are relationships. Your relationships matter, right? The relationships that you make around with your peers today, some of whom you'll never meet again for the rest of your life, and you might not deal with them again, but there are some that you're going to form these relationships, right? And over time, these relationships matter. They're so critical informing who you are in your ecosystem, and as Paul said, every role that I've had after coming out of school has been a source of a relationship. Someone knew me, right, and what I did, and they came to me with that opportunity and said, hey Allan, what about this, right? And then I jumped in. And my success in each of those roles, going into that situation and working with construction and engineering contracts, right? A big part of the success was my relationship, right? Because I now can go to my peers who know this stuff, and I said to them, hey guys, I just landed a role in which I had to do a construction project worth $35 million to build this engineered structure wall, right? I don't know anything about this. Can you help, right? And I had these trusted relationships with people around from industry peers that came together and helped me with that, right? And no one was asking me money for it. We were just helping. And so, and the same thing too, like if anyone came out to me today and said, hey, I have a situation right now, can you help me, Allan, right? I give myself completely and help, right? But those relationships in time will help you accelerate through your career. Okay? So that's number 2. Number 3, something that really helped me is connected to both those 2 things, is that community of an association. And so why am I the president and CEO of Supply Chain Canada at the back end of my career today, right? After doing all that other stuff. It's because I started into this organization when I was younger to get my designation, right? And I had no clue where this was gonna lead me. I landed a role in supply chain management, and I was working with a bunch of people, and they said to me, Allan, you're not a supply chain guy, you're an accountant, right? And in order for you to be a supply chain guy, they said, you need this designation here, right? And I'm like, what does a designation have to do with anything? Like, I got here by myself, right? I don't need a designation, but everyone else thought that I needed this designation. So I'm like, okay, whatever. The company was gonna pay for it anyway, so why not? I'll just take my designation. Like I said, you know, jump into all those things that you don't know, and if there's an opportunity, just grab it anyways, right? So I did, and I took it, and I got my designation and came out of it. And it wasn't really the quality of it. It wasn't the content. The content helped me because, but to be honest, I can read textbooks. I can learn the content myself, right? But what the designation allowed me to do were 2 things. One, it gave me credibility. Those letters behind my name, because all of my peers said, oh, Allan, you can't do this role because you're not a designated supply chain professional, right? So I didn't have the credibility whatsoever. And all of a sudden, once I had those 4 letters behind my name, right, I can actually say I'm designated, right? And all of a sudden, my peers who were all designated gave me the credit, the trust, and they're like, okay, yeah, you're one of us, right? And then it also gave me the credibility to engage with others who are non-supply chain professionals as well, because I'm going, and in order to be successful in the role, you're engaging with people in the business community all the time, right? You're engaging accountants, engineers, operational folks, plant folks, right? And what describes your level of expertise better than your designation, right? So I'll go to them and I'll say, yeah, I'm a designated supply chain professional. I can help you, right? So automatically my credibility rose right away as soon as I had my letters, right? And I carried those letters similar to my CPA with great pride. The other piece that the designation provided me with was a community of relationships right away, right? And through, so I came out, I got brought into a power company, a power utility company. My first role was a financial analyst in a supply chain organization. And they hired me into supply chain because I had my CPA, my accounting, right? And so I'm like, okay, and I couldn't get that role to be that negotiator without my designation. So finally I got this designation now, right? And I came back to them like, I want to do sourcing. And because I had the designation, those doors opened up to me,
So the next role I took after that, I got promoted into a sourcing leader. And I was responsible for now sourcing, my area of responsibility was up to $25 million on a contract deal, right? And I had to learn to negotiate, and I had to work across multiple different categories. I was buying everything from IT hardware to stationery to consulting services, right? All these different categories. But how do you know how to buy, right? And so I didn't know how to buy it. I knew the mechanics of buying, right? You learn that through the designation. You guys are gonna learn it through your program. You gotta learn how to do competitive bidding and all that other stuff. But I didn't know that category. I couldn't go to the business unit and work with you know the construction guys and talk to them in a way that we can actually they would actually trust me, right? I didn't know their world enough. So I went back to the association, and I met people through all of our events, and I found a whole group of us who were in the same boat, or some of us same boat in the sense that we were buying the same type of things. So as part of the association, I created a small mini professional group in Calgary, and I gathered us together on a monthly basis, and we would talk about all the issues that we had at work. I'm buying this today, right? Here's the challenges, and oh yeah, who are you, what supplier are you using over there, right? And we would just share ideas and best practices to each other, right? And so that helped me humongously, right? And then as I started advancing in my career, and I'm like, okay, there's certain areas I need to focus in. I gotta focus on delivery. I gotta focus on being able to manage and influence without authority. So where do I go? So then I went back to the association again, and I sought volunteering opportunities through the association to try these things out. I use this association as my playground, my safe playground, right? Things that I wanted to do at work was scary, because if I did it at work, the consequences of making a mess of it was significantly higher. But so what I did was I just created a playground within the association itself, and I brought my peers together and I tried things out, right? And I practiced there. I volunteered. Eventually, I found myself to be on the board of directors. Eventually, then I became a chair of the board, right? And then now coming full circle, towards the later end of my career, now I'm the president and CEO of the organization. And being a part of the association, allowing me to hone in my craft, learning all of the best practices that are available, reaching out to all supply chain professionals working in private, public sector across multiple industries, right? Because as a supply chain professional, you're buying stuff across different categories. Through the association, I can reach out to someone. So if I was buying stuff in the construction world, I can reach out to those who are in supply chain in construction. And because we're all part of one association, I can reach out to that person and say, hey, can I buy you coffee? Can we go and chat, right? And that would happen, right? And I sit down, I'm like, hey, can you help me understand this a little bit more, right? And that's what the association is. The association is beyond the letters. It's beyond the designation, right? Those things are big. Like, it offers you credibility, it offers you trust. When employers are looking to hire, they're gonna look for things that differentiate you from others, right? And it just allows for another level of differentiation, right? It offers all of that. And I think those are all the benefits of it. But for me, the biggest benefit was the community that I was able to tap into in my career to allow me to really accelerate in my career, right? So that's the biggest thing. Supply Chain Canada is Canada's largest association for supply chain professionals. We've been around for over 104 years in this space. So the brand itself is trusted by the business community and those around, right? And so having the designation is an important one because we're trusted and because we are the legislated governing body for this profession. We have to make sure that all of our members have a professional standard of conduct. We have to make sure that all of our professionals who carry the designation have the right competencies and education to be successful in their work. And then we have to make sure that those professionals that receive the designation are continuously developing themselves. Back to what Paul was saying, right? They're developing themselves continuously throughout their career. And we hold them to that standard, right? We are the gold standard in Canada for supply chain professionals. And if you want to distinguish yourself to be such, right, it's there. And in all honesty, right, there's many paths for you to pursue in your career. And you can go and say, I don't need a designation, I'll just do this without it. And you can be successful as well, right? But all I'm saying is that with the designation, with your affiliation, association with the association, it allows you to get there faster, quicker, easier, right? And that's been the true value to me. I'll pause. Any question about my career or the three suggestions I provided there? Okay, I'm gonna go into go into a little bit about the designation itself. So the designation to get your SCMP requires you, if you weren't in this program, you have to take 8 modules, 6 workshops, 1 leadership in residency, in which we bring people together and you work on case studies and you meet with candidates across the country, and you're being put into groups across the country, and then you apply all of the learns that you have into a case study type of format, right? And so there's lots of cases that you would work on together. And then upon the completion of that, plus the final exam, and then as long as you can demonstrate 3 years of professional work experience, that's when you earn the SCMP. The great thing about for all of you is that you've entered into a supply chain program at NorQuest that is recognized by Supply Chain Canada. We have accredited this school as one of the schools to deliver this education. And as a consequence of that, when you come out, once you've successfully completed this program at NorQuest, you will come out and you would have credit against our designation program. So you can actually have an advanced standing. In fact, we've accredited 80% of all of the courses in your program. And all that's required for you guys to earn the SCMP are 3 additional courses that you have to take through us, right? And so that's it. So typically, for those who are not going through this program, it would take them anywhere from 2 to 3 years to complete the designation program. The cost to go through all of that is anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 to complete all of that program, right, from scratch. But because you're going through this through NorQuest already, you only need to do 3 additional classes. So that's going to reduce your time and also reduce the money that's required to get this, right? And to me, I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys are 80% there already, right? 80% there, there's only another 20% left, right? Get the 20%, get the designation, stand out from everyone else, right? And use the supply chain community to really help you accelerate in your careers, okay? The process to do so upon completion of your program here is to reach out to Supply Chain Canada, and you're going to go through the FAR process of recognizing prior learning. And basically, you're going to provide them with your transcripts, right? And they're going to go through and they're going to evaluate. I believe the cost to complete all of that is $500 to complete that assessment, to make sure that you've got everything. And then upon approval of that, then you enter into our accreditation program, right? And so entering into our accreditation program, you become a member of Supply Chain Canada, and then you pay for the 3 courses. You complete your final exam, you complete your in residency session, and demonstrate the 3 years of professional experience, and then you can get your designation after that. Any questions on the process?
What is it about the residency program? Where, what
Yeah.
are the functions that we need?
Well, I think we're gonna change the name of that. So once upon a time, before COVID, we would have in residence sessions in Eastern Canada and then Western Canada. We would rotate. And then when things were really busy, we used to do both. And so when I did my designation, I flew out. I had to fly out, and it was pretty expensive. So I had to fly out to Ontario. I lived at York University, and it was a 10-day long session where we worked every single day from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. every day. And we met professionals from across the country because we all gathered in Eastern Canada, right? And it was expensive because I had to pay for my travel, I had to pay for my stay there, and then I had to pay for the course itself. But I learned so much from it, right? Obviously, because of COVID, that got destroyed completely, and right now the way that the program is delivered today, it is virtual. But the concept is the same. So what we did was we condensed it. It becomes virtual, and because when you do virtual, you can't do 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. at night anymore. It's too hard. We shortened it quite a bit, right? But the concepts of you meeting professionals, other accreditation professionals across the country is the same. So they would pull you guys together. You would form a cohort together. And then throughout the period of the leadership residency, we've developed simulations and casework and stuff like that in which you're going to work together to demonstrate your ability to take all these courses that you've learned, competitive bidding, procurement, operations management, inventory and transportation, pull them all together and demonstrate that you can actually pull it all together and demonstrate your knowledge.
How long does it take?
I think it's like less a week now, yeah.
And what's the cost for that?
I will get that to you. Let me see what's on my slide here. If I don't have it, you can go to our website and it's all there on our website. Yeah. So if you go to SCMP and then down into it, it'll give you a list of all of the courses that you need to take and the costs.
And another question about the experience is that, okay, for example, for me, I had an experience as a sales manager for small countries, which has a lot to do with the export and import processes, but my title was not related to supply chain.
Yeah, we don't look at titles.
Okay.
We look at the work that you do. So as long as you can sort of describe the work that you do that's relatable back to supply chain management, then it would qualify as professional hours.
So in order to prove that, I can get a recommendation letter from my ACE boss.
Correct.
Describing all the functions that
Correct.
I did. Okay.
Correct, that's right.
So basically, it doesn't matter where your experience is coming from.
It doesn't matter where you're learning or your work professional experience is coming from. So if you have work experience outside in another geographic jurisdiction, you just need to describe all that as well. Yeah. Any other question on that? Yes.
So do we need to be a part of Supply Chain Canada during the 3 years of experience and the exams that we have to do?
During when you become accredited, so as soon as you go into the program, so when you say, okay, I'm going to get my course assessed, and now I've assessed and I get approval to go into the accreditation program, you need to get a membership then for sure as a full-time member, right? So the full-time membership as a supply chain professional myself, as a designation holder, I pay $440 a year, right? For my CPA, I pay $1,200 or $1,300 a year, right? So those are the professional dues. So then you become a member as soon as you go into the accreditation program. What Paul was describing there is our student affiliate membership. And this is where I encourage all of you to take advantage of it, because rather than paying the $440 to get all of the benefits of a membership, as a student working full-time right now, we reduced it to recognize that you guys are full-time students to $50, right? And so, okay, well, what's the value of $50? The value of $50 allows you to access all of our industry events, okay? So the industry events that we hold in person we invite our members to it, so supply chain professionals to come to it. And as a student affiliate member, you can access a lot of those events at a very, very low reduced price compared to what other members are paying. So not only do you get the benefits of membership, you actually get a better deal than what members are getting to go to these events, which allows you to learn about more of the contemporary issues that are happening in supply chain. But more importantly, the in-person events allows you to start practicing those critical communication skills and relationship development skills. Again, very, very low risk, right? The lowest risk is for you to meet each other here and make friends, right? Super low risk, right? But how do you develop professional relationships? How do you go up to people, meet people, and learn to talk to individuals, right? And so everyone in the association has started where you were. And so they know that. So when you come out to an event and you say to them, hey, I'm a student, I'm here, I want to learn, can you help introduce me to people? Everyone there will be very happy to do so. It's a safe place for you to meet professionals. If it's a safe place when you're there, you're gonna meet people from Lafarge, you're gonna meet people from Sherritt, you're gonna meet people from all sorts of companies, both in the private and the public sector side. And it's an opportunity for you to go to them and say, hey, Cindy from Edmonton Police Service, what is it like working for the police? What type of roles do you have in procurement with the Edmonton Police, right? And it's an opportunity to learn. Like, there's no other place in which you can go to in an event where you have access to such a focused group of supply chain professionals. No other place, right? So some of our future events coming up here is we've got a industry tour of the Allan facility here in Edmonton. So you'll be heading out there, you'll be with other supply chain professionals. You're gonna hear what the type of technology and processes that Allan has incorporated in its warehouse, and you'll be able to tour all that. So automatically you learn, right? And then from that, they're gonna move into a pizza party type of social networking thing, right? And that's where you can meet with other professionals, right? And you can go and ask them, like, what do you think of that technology? Oh, do you have that technology employed in your company, right? Mr. Whatever, right? And it's such a great learning opportunity. Allan Tour, the tour happens at the end of February. And then in April, we have we're planning an in-person event in which professionals are gonna come together to learn everything about aggregate, right? So aggregate, and it's like, really, what's aggregate? Well, aggregate is sand, gravel, right? All that other stuff, right? Like rocks. So why is that important, right? Well, actually aggregate is a key component to a lot of things that we do, right? Building construction, road infrastructure, everything is dependent. We actually have a shortage of aggregate. And so we have a fantastic subject matter expert coming in to talk about aggregate. This is the aggregate supply. This is how aggregate is used across all these different sectors. This is why we have a demand shortage, a supply shortage, right? And you're gonna learn all about that stuff. Like, do you learn about that in class? I'm sure, like, you're gonna learn a ton from these guys, right? But there's like these little nuances, right, for you to learn. And again, it's gonna be a social networking component, appetizers and everything afterwards. Again, you're able to build those relationships, right? So in-person events, highly recommend. The second thing that we do are webinars, so 1 hour webinars. And these webinars, for our members, right, they pay $25 for each webinar. As a student affiliate, it's free, no cost, right? So automatically, if you pay $50 for the membership, you just have to attend 2 webinars and you're good, right? And what do we talk about in the webinar? We talk about the most critical, most important issues today in supply chain. We're gonna talk about the impact of trade with Trump, right? We've talked about impact of new legislation around forced labor that has impacted all supply chains. We're gonna talk about things, and actually Paul delivered an intro into public procurement for those who are interested in going into the public procurement world. What do you need to know, right? There's all these interesting things, and what you want to develop in order to prepare yourself is the industry literacy, and the language allows you to differentiate yourself to those that you interview and meet with. Okay? There's the stuff that's in the textbook, and then there's stuff that's related to each industry, the lingo, the talk. The things that we talk about in the oil and gas sector, and the language and the words that we use are very specific to our industry in oil and gas. And if you want a role in oil and gas, do you have that literacy, right? Do you know of all of the key issues that is affecting all those working in oil and gas and supply chain today? Do you know the issues around the energy transition? Do you know all about the different type of renewable energies that are available, right? Do you know the sourcing of those renewables and the risk in supply chain, and where the source of those renewable items come from, whether it's critical minerals or solar panels from China and the implications around that? Do you know all that, right? And so it's an opportunity for you to really understand that, get that literacy, right? Low cost, free, right? So leading up to this, we have